Some players win games. These guys changed the atmosphere. The moment they stepped on the field, everything shifted. Crowds got quiet. Teammates got louder. Opponents flinched. They weren't just athletes. They were nightmares in helmets. These are the scariest NFL players of all time. The ones who didn't just play football, they haunted it. Ray Lewis. You didn't just see Ray Lewis. You felt him. For 17 seasons, he was the engine of the Baltimore Ravens. A linebacker who moved like a missile and struck like a sledgehammer. He read offenses like a novel and tore through them like a storm. One step and he was in the backfield. 2 steps and the ball carrier was flattened. But it wasn't just the violence, it was the presence. The pre-game speeches that echoed like war cries, the stares that froze teammates and rattled opponents, the signature dance that sent stadiums into frenzy. He retired with over 2,000 career tackles, 31 interceptions, and a Super Bowl MVP. But the stat that tells the real story? Fear. Quarterbacks looked off his side, running backs hesitated, coaches game planned around him. Ray Lewis didn't just lead defenses, he controlled games with rage and precision and turned the middle of the field into a minefield. Lawrence Taylor. He changed the game and scared it to death in the process. Lawrence Taylor didn't look like a linebacker, he looked like something new, something the league wasn't ready for. Explosive, wild, untamed. The New York Giants sent him after quarterbacks and he came like an avalanche. He didn't just sack you, he blew up the entire play. Tight ends couldn't block him, running backs got trucked, left tackles got humiliated. He crushed quarterbacks with a ferocity that bordered on reckless. Ask Joe Theismann. One hit from LT ended his career and became one of the most infamous moments in NFL history. He forced the NFL to invent new blocking schemes, changed how the outside linebacker was used, won 2 Super Bowls, an MVP, and 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Even off the field, he was chaos. But between the whistles, he was the storm that never stopped. Dick Butkus. He didn't smile, he destroyed. Dick Butkus was the face of 1960s football brutality, a middle linebacker who looked like he lived in a bar fight. He stalked the middle of the field like a wolf, waiting for a snap, then lunging with unfiltered aggression. He played 9 seasons, made 8 Pro Bowls, and forced more fumbles than anyone in his era. He once said, "I'd like to think my best hits border on felonious assault." That wasn't a joke. There was no finesse, no hesitation, just pain. Teammates respected him, opponents hated him, and the NFL feared him. Decades later, his name still sends chills, because Butkus didn't just hit hard, he hit with purpose, and left bodies in his wake. Ronnie Lott. He gave up a finger just to keep playing. What more do you need to know? Ronnie Lott was more than a safety, he was a guided missile. He'd sprint across the field like he knew the route before the receiver did. When he arrived, it wasn't a tackle, it was an explosion. He started as a corner, became a safety, and made receivers terrified of running slants or crossing route. Because if the ball came, so did Lott, and so did the pain. Ask any receiver from the 80s and 90s. His name alone made them flinch. He won 4 Super Bowls, made 10 Pro Bowls, and was the heart of the 49ers dynasty. But more than the numbers, it was the violence. Controlled, legal, and lethal. He once shattered a receiver's helmet with a hit, and didn't apologize. And that finger, he amputated the tip to avoid surgery and keep playing. That wasn't commitment, that was obsession. Aaron Donald. He's not just scary, he's a nightmare wrapped in muscle. At 6 feet 1 inch and 280 pounds, Aaron Donald is considered undersized for a defensive tackle. But nobody told him that, because when the ball is snapped, he turns into a blur of strength and violence. Guards and centers double team him, sometimes triple, it doesn't matter. He breaks through. From 2014 to 2023, Donald racked up over 110 sacks, 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, and a Super Bowl ring. His leverage is perfect, his hand speed is elite, and his strength, other linemen call it inhuman. He doesn't just beat blockers, he demoralizes them. Ask any quarterback who faced him, they felt his presence long before he made contact. He made the Hall of Fame conversation. In year 6, he retired in 2024, but even now, linemen still wake up relieved they don't have to block number 99 anymore. Larry Allen. If brute force had a face, it was Larry Allen's. He was the strongest player in NFL history, bench pressing 700 pounds in his prime. But strength alone didn't make him scary, it was how he used it. Defensive linemen didn't just get blocked, they got tossed, flattened, and embarrassed. Allen played both guard and tackle for the Cowboys, making 11 Pro Bowls and earning a spot on both the 1990s and 2000s All-Decade teams. He wasn't just great, he was dominant. In one famous clip, Allen chased down a linebacker 60 yards downfield to stop a pick six. He weighed over 325 pounds. It made no sense, but nothing about Larry Allen was supposed to. He didn't talk much, he just hit people hard, and when he pulled on a sweep, defenders moved out of the way because nobody wanted to get crushed by Larry Allen at full speed. Jack Lambert. He looked like he belonged in a post-apocalyptic movie, not the NFL. Toothless, intense, and completely unhinged between the whistles. Jack Lambert was the soul of the Steel Curtain defense, the most feared unit of the 1970s. He played middle linebacker with zero concern for his body or yours. His closing speed was elite. His hits were thunderous, and his attitude, pure rage. He once famously said, "Quarterbacks should wear dresses," and he meant it. Lambert helped the Steelers win 4 Super Bowls. He made 9 Pro Bowls, and he terrified anyone who entered his zone. Running backs took detours. Tight ends braced for impact. He roamed the field like a predator and left carnage behind him. Jack Tatum. They called him the Assassin. He earned it. Jack Tatum wasn't the biggest safety, but he might have been the meanest. Playing for the Raiders in the 1970s, Tatum built a reputation on knockout blows. He didn't aim to tackle, he aimed to inflict. His most infamous hit came in 1978 when he collided with Patriots receiver Darryl Stingley, leaving him paralyzed. Tatum never apologized. It wasn't personal, it was football. And in that era, his brutality was legal. Tatum once wrote a book titled "They Call Me Assassin." It wasn't just a nickname, it was a mission. Receivers knew if they ran across the middle against the Raiders, they might not finish the game or the season. John Randle. He didn't just beat you, he screamed in your face while doing it. John Randle was chaos in cleats. At 6 feet 1 inch, 290 pounds, he wasn't supposed to dominate like he did, but he used unmatched speed, violent hands, and endless energy to torment offensive lines. He racked up 137.5 career sacks, mostly from the interior, a ridiculous number for a defensive tackle. He made 7 straight Pro Bowls, but what made him terrifying wasn't just the stats, it was the unpredictability, the pre-snap trash talk, the black eye paint smeared across his face, the maniacal laughter after a sack. He got inside your head and then took you apart. Randle wasn't just a pass rusher, he was a psychological threat, and he loved every second of it. Sean Taylor. He didn't hit, he detonated. Sean Taylor was a once-in-a-generation safety, built like a linebacker, but fast like a wideout. He covered the deep third, closed gaps in a flash, and hit receivers so hard they rethought their careers. At 6 feet 3 inches, 230 pounds, he could cover tight ends, destroy running backs, and still roam sideline to sideline. His instincts were elite, his aggression unmatched. His Pro Bowl hit on punter Brian Moorman is still played today, not just because it was brutal, but because it happened in an exhibition game. That was Sean Taylor. Intensity, always on. He had 12 interceptions and 305 tackles in just 55 career games, and he was only getting better. But in 2007, his life was tragically cut short at 24 during a home invasion. The league lost more than a player, it lost a force of nature. Reggie White. They called him the Minister of Defense, and for good reason. Reggie White wasn't just dominant, he was terrifying. At 6 feet 5 inches, 290 pounds, he had the power to collapse an entire offensive line and the footwork of a tight end. His signature move, the hump move, turned grown men into rag dolls. One swipe of that massive arm, and linemen flew sideways like they were hit by a wrecking ball. White recorded 198 career sacks, still the second most in NFL history. He had 21 sacks in a single season with the Eagles, and when he joined the Packers in the mid-90s, he became the missing piece for a Super Bowl run. He won Defensive Player of the Year twice, made 13 Pro Bowls, and was named to both the 1980s and 1990s All-Decade teams. But stats didn't make him scary. It was the way he broke pockets in seconds. Quarterbacks knew the snap count and still didn't have enough time. Reggie White wasn't just a problem, he was a weekly crisis. Steve Atwater. Steve Atwater didn't hit, he detonated. Standing 6 feet 3 inches, 220 pounds, Atwater was one of the most feared safeties of the 90s. He earned a reputation for bone-rattling hits, none more iconic than when he met Christian Okoye, the Nigerian nightmare, in the hole. Okoye was 260 pounds of pure power, but Atwater dropped him like a sack of bricks. It wasn't just a highlight, it was a warning. Atwater made 8 Pro Bowls, was named first-team All-Pro twice, and won 2 Super Bowls with the Denver Broncos. He recorded over 1,000 tackles in his career, and his coverage skills often went overlooked because people were too busy watching him launch into bodies like a missile. Wide receivers feared the middle of the field, coaches adjusted route trees to avoid him, and running backs knew if they broke through the line, Atwater was waiting, and he wasn't going to wrap up gently. James Harrison was the nightmare you never saw coming until it was too late. He wasn't drafted, he was undersized, and he was angry about both. That chip on his shoulder became a wrecking ball once he broke into the Steelers' starting lineup. At just 6 feet tall, Harrison used raw power, freakish leverage, and relentless aggression to punish anyone who lined up in front of him. In 2008, he became the NFL Defensive Player of the Year after posting 16 sacks and 7 forced fumbles. But his defining moment came in Super Bowl 43, a 100-yard pick six that changed the game and cemented his legend. Harrison lifted heavy steel chains during workouts, hit like a car crash, and had a glare that could stop conversations. He didn't care about your name, he cared about hitting you as hard as legally possible, and sometimes a little harder. Troy Polamalu wasn't just instinctual, he was everywhere. His speed, timing, and anticipation turned him into a ghost on defense. One second he was deep in coverage, the next he was leaping over the offensive line to stop a sneak. You couldn't predict him. You couldn't track him. You could only hope he wasn't coming for you. Polamalu made 8 Pro Bowls, won 2 Super Bowls, and was the 2010 Defensive Player of the Year. His acrobatic interceptions and perfectly timed blitzes were hallmarks of the Steelers' dominance in the 2000s. He was soft-spoken off the field, but once the ball was snapped, he became chaos in motion, unreadable, unrelenting, and unforgettable. They weren't just great, they were feared, and when they stepped on the field, the game changed. But we're not done yet. Some of the most terrifying legends are still ahead.